What's going on, everybody? John Eric Pola here with My MMA News, and today's guest is joining us via phone, and he's probably one of the most famous people ever from Brookline, Massachusetts. I know what you're thinking. It's a member of the Kennedy family. It's Conan O'Brien, Robert Kraft. All those answers are wrong. It is the great Kenny Florian joining us today. Kenny, how are you doing? And thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be here.
I'm doing well. I'm so much bigger than those guys. It's ridiculous.
Oh, 100% you definitely are. And I guess we'll start out right by asking, back when you were living in Brookline, Mass, I know you're in other parts of the world now, but back when you were living up there on the East Coast, were you ever be in like, I don't know, like a supermarket, a bar, a restaurant, and you'll be walking in and seeing these types of people and you're, bumping elbows with them and telling them how much more famous you are than them?
I wish that was the case, man. But alas, that has never happened. I remember back in the day when I was going to Boston College, I was working part-time at Abercrombie and Fitch, and Conan O'Brien came into the store, and I was such a wimp and so intimidated, I didn't say anything to him. So, yeah, there you go. That's the real story.
Okay, so I have two things that I got to take away from what you just said there. The first one is you worked for Abercrombie and Fitch. I think that kind of threw everybody off. I wasn't expecting you to ever have that type of a job. And number two, what's Conan O'Brien doing there? That guy's like 6'5". He can't even fit in their clothes, can he?
That was the first thing that struck me. I was probably, 17, 18-year-old kid. I had no idea that he was that big. And, yeah, I was like, that can't be. He's a giant. And it was definitely him.
Gotcha. Well, I know you don't want to sit here and talk geography and about the history of your hometown anymore. We want to get into the reason why we're here, which is you have, or it's just recently been announced that you'll be joining the broadcast team over at the PFL. So we'll start there and just tell everybody how excited you are to be a part of the PFL and their broadcast team.
I'm so excited, man. It's been a while since I've had the opportunity to call professional mixed martial arts competitions. So I'm really looking forward to it. I've been, studying up on PFL and their rules and their format and their fighters. And that kind of gives me the butterflies. It gives me, an exciting and nervous feeling that I haven't had in a little while. And I'm always kind of the type of person who tends to embrace challenges and new challenges, and I certainly see that with the PFL, and very excited to be working also with two legends of the game in Sean O'Connell and Randy Couture.
Now, how did this whole process come about that you got involved with PFL in the first place?
Really, it was kind of, I guess, a couple years in the making. They had reached out to me a couple years ago and had told me about an opportunity with the PFL. They, of course, experienced the setback with the pandemic, and they reconnected with me, this year. And I guess you could say last year, end of 2020. And we ended up making the deal happen. I was no longer doing commentary for the UFC. They kind of stopped using me in around, I guess, 2017. And this opportunity came up, and it really excited me.
Now let's talk about some of the fighters here in your new promotion that you'll be working for with the PFL. Just who are some people that you're looking forward to seeing step inside of the PFL cage?
There's a bunch of guys. I think their welterweight division is really stacked. You have Roy McDonald, of course. You have Magomed Karimov. You have a lot of other fighters, of course, Rinku III, who is the defending champion coming into this. And I feel like they just have a lot of talent, a lot of guys from Russia and Dagestan. We all know how tough those guys are and kind of backgrounds that they come from, whether it's striking or wrestling. They are going to be a beast to deal with. The lightweight division is fire as well. Natan Schultz, a Brazilian judoka with skills everywhere on the ground, on the feet as well, is a handful. He's the two-time defending champion as well. We got Anthony Pettis, who has now entered himself into that division. And, yeah, there's just a lot of guys that are exciting to watch, that really go forward, to have a really well-rounded skill set that I'm looking forward to kind of seeing how it all develops throughout the season. That goes from the heavyweights all the way down to the featherweights, and of course the women's lightweight division as well.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you brought up that 155-pound division, because I had Natan on the program not too long ago. Like you mentioned, Anthony Pettis is coming in there. That's really what I'm going to have my eye on this upcoming PFL season. I really want to see how that division plays out. Do you agree with that? Do you think that's probably one of the glamour divisions to watch out for this year in the PFL? Or do you think maybe there is a different division, like one of the ones you were just mentioning, that can slide on the radar and really catch everybody's attention?
Oh, without question. 155, for me, call me biased. I fought the division. But it's a division that I believe is the most talent rich. Whether you're talking about the UFC, the PFL, Bellator, all the best fighters tend to be in and around 155, 170 pounds. Why? Because most people are in and around that height and weight. So I think the pool of what you're talking about is a lot larger than the other divisions. I think that's a big reason for it. But, the smaller guys tend to be more technical. They tend to rely more on their technique. And to me, as a martial artist, that's fascinating to me. I'm always trying to learn and see what people are doing. I'm still a practitioner and a student. So for me, that's exciting, just that alone. So, yeah, I think, and all the way down to 145-pound division now, all around the world. It continues to get better and more exciting.
And now, of course, aside from the PFL and their upcoming season, you're busy with your podcast, the Anik and Florian podcast. One of the best ones really to listen to. I'm a big fan of what you and John Anik do. So I guess what's it like, number one, to just work with John Anik every day, because he's such an incredible talent?
He really is. He really is. He's an amazing guy, and a guy who really knows how to capture the moment. He's always been a guy who's been present and aware of what's going on since the moment I've met him, probably back in 2007, 2008 or so. So we've been working together a very long time. We started working for ESPN on a show called MMA Live. It was the first major mixed martial arts programming on a major network. So we've known each other a long time. And the great thing about John is he showed a lot of potential and promise early on, and he was very good at what he did and what he does. And he's only grown and continually gotten better. And for a guy who tries to do that himself, it's a real admirable quality in John. And I feel like he kind of has that chip on his shoulder, which I think a lot of the greats have, in that it pushes you to always want to be better and always try to prove yourself. And I think the moment you get comfortable in any domain, you tend to start to get a little too comfortable, a little too relaxed, and you kind of lose that edge and lose that ability to deliver your best performances. And I think with John and his point of his career, the fact that he has only gotten better and will most likely continue to get better definitely makes him one of the best in the business.
And I know with your podcast, you guys are heavy with the UFC. I understand that, especially with John working for the UFC. But now that you're with the PFL, are you guys going to start talking more PFL on your podcast now?
I'm sure we will. Absolutely. We'll be talking about everything, especially in regards to the big fights for both promotions. And, it's a great format, too, because, when you're doing the live shows, the live broadcast shows, whether it's commentary or the pre- and post-fight shows, sometimes you don't always get the opportunity to kind of do long-form, debate or discussion on what happened that night or what transpired. And there's just so much going on these days that the podcast really allows us both to kind of, give our true thoughts and go a little bit longer than we could on live television.
Another podcast-related thing that I have to ask, I know you guys do that Ray Longo minute. I love it. Ray Longo is hysterical. Is he that awesome, like in real life? He just seems like such a cool dude.
He might even be cooler. I'll be honest with you. Ray is one of the most fun guys. Like, even when I was fighting and I had nothing to do with, the podcast or anything like that, he was always one of the good guys in the sport, one of the guys that I really enjoyed, working with and talking to, just a real dude, a straight shooter, a guy who's been around forever, a true martial artist, and he also happens to be hilarious. So kudos to John Anik for recognizing that very early. And, we both kind of talked about it. We said, we got to have him on and have him as a regular feature on the podcast. And Ray's been with us since our first podcast ever. So the fact that he's continued to give back to us and be a part of this show is pretty special.
And Kenny, I'm sure everybody knows about your podcast already, but in case there's anybody that's out there watching this for the first time, like, oh, I want to check that out, just tell everybody where they could check your podcast out at.
Yeah, we are available in all formats. Our YouTube outlet has been really popular, so if you want to check us out on YouTube, if you like what you see and hear, please subscribe and share and give us some likes on our YouTube channel. But we are available on all the different formats, for Apple and Spotify, and basically anywhere you can get a podcast, we are available. We have a new producer, Cody Merrow, who came on in the last year or so, who's been fantastic and has taken our show to the next level. So we're excited. We continue to grow and hopefully get better and deliver the best content out there for podcasts.
All right, we talked about the PFL. We talked about your podcast. I do want to talk a little bit about your gym, because you actually own a gym, you and your brother, back in Brookline, Mass. There. So why don't you go ahead and give the gym a plug and tell everybody a little bit about how that's going in your life as a gym owner.
Yeah, absolutely. My brother Keith and I, we've been teaching since about, I think, 2006 in Brookline, Massachusetts, and it's called Florian Martial Arts Center, and they have a few fighters under our wing. But we really teach everything. It started out really as mainly a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym, but we have classes from boxing, Muay Thai, wrestling, no-gi, and mixed martial arts. So it's been an awesome community that we've built over there. The guys are getting better all the time, and it's been awesome to get back to the sport. And my brother, who's been there primarily over the last several years, has done an awesome job in developing some good talent, and more importantly, having a strong and good community of people over there.
All right, Kenny. So this is the point of the interview. Usually, I start to wrap things up, and I tell everybody to plug their social media channels, and usually it's just like a Facebook and Instagram, Twitter. Well, you actually take social media to a whole new level, because you have a YouTube channel where you're teaching a lot of jiu-jitsu things and stuff like that. So why don't you go ahead and give your YouTube channel a plug?
I'm going to give you my fans-only page.
Yeah.
I just started it for those that are interested. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have a fans-only, but don't tempt me, guys. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, at Kenny Florian. I actually recently started a YouTube channel a few months ago, which has been kind of blowing up, and I've been trying to share more of a conceptual approach to jiu-jitsu, grappling, and mixed martial arts. So if you guys are practitioners or, even fans that want to learn about the sport and how things are done, check out my YouTube page, Kenny Florian, and I appreciate the support, the likes, the shares, and the subscribers. So thank you.
All right, there you guys have it. That was Kenny Florian. Kenny, thank you so much for being here today and joining us. And to everybody that's out there watching, I appreciate it so much. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you haven't done so yet, please go ahead and subscribe to this YouTube channel. You can watch more great interviews just like this one that you just watched. And also keep going to MyMMANews. Great content comes out there 7 days a week. Make sure you go to our social media accounts as well. We'll see you later, everybody.